Let's go to Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, former NFL scout for the Eagles, Browns, Ravens. This is what he does for a living. Boy, the Travon Walker thing, I guess they say he could be number 1-year starter, not a true edge. I mean, hey, again, it's a trait thing. I mean, if you ran the team, what would you do? Would you take the sure bet Hutchinson, who's been wildly productive for years? He's a true edge. Or would you take the Georgia kid? What would you do?
Yeah, I don't like unknowns when I have the first pick, Colin. And look, Travon Walker is a fantastic athlete. I think there's a lot of promise for what he's going to be, and I get excited about that, and that's why I have him as my 6th overall player. But Aidan Hutchinson, I've just seen it. I know what I'm buying. I'm comfortable with that with the first overall selection in this draft. I think he's the best player. So I just, to me, uncertainty is not something I'm a fan of when you have the first overall pick.
Now, I don't do mock drafts. I'm not going to sign up to be wrong 32 times. We know desperation matters. I'll just throw a scenario at you.
Yeah.
Carolina's got, like Steve Ballmer, the richest owner. He's an impatient man, and Matt Rule's off back-to-back like 5-win seasons. Darnold's not the long-term answer. And my takeaway is Arizona whiffed on a quarterback. The next year they went and got another quarterback. Why not with that 6th pick in a draft where there are no guarantees? Why not just take Malik Willis and just say, hey, he can, he moves like Darnold. We're going to sort of incorporate him in the offense. Would you consider that as a former scout, even though you have him like deep first round? Why not roll the dice on the most important position? Is it crazy?
No, it's not crazy, and I wouldn't be totally shocked if that's what ended up happening tonight. But to me, I have him in the early 20s on my list. The problem with that theory, though, Colin, is that I don't know that Malik Willis is going to be ready to play right away. So a year from now, you could be in that situation of not knowing what you have in Malik Willis and then wondering, wait, do I need to go back into this well again? I don't even know what I have in the guy I just took. And there's a lot of other holes on this roster, particularly at the tackle position. So I think those are the two schools of thought. Do you take a tackle and try and build up this team knowing your quarterback's probably not coming until next year? Or do you take another bite at the apple and just throw another quarterback into the mix? I don't know. It'd be tough for me knowing I'm going to take a quarterback I don't think sees the field much this year.
It's interesting. I had said this earlier. The Jets want Deebo, and they'd probably have to give up their number 10 pick and their number 38 pick and maybe a pick next year. If you believe Trey Lance could play, if you really strongly believed in it, and you got that 10th pick, you could get, let's say, a Drake London.
Yeah.
And if you believe Trey can play, and you're going to move and have cap flexibility if you don't have Deebo, and you love your coach, you like your GM, you like your roster a lot, and Seattle's not going to be the same team for the next year or two in the division. So it's a 3-team race no longer. I don't think it's the best division in football anymore. I think AFC West probably is. So let's talk about this. If you got that 10 pick Drake London, now I'm not saying he's Deebo Samuel, but do you think he's the kind of player, as a former scout for 3 teams, that with a great coach who makes almost everything work, that Drake London could be productive as a rookie?
Oh, I think he's going to be productive as a rookie. I think whether or not he goes to the Jets, or if something happened with that trade and he ended up in San Francisco, I think he's going to be a high volume guy. He's going to be a big slot. You mentioned kind of the Deebo success that he had. I mean, to me, I'm going to use him exactly like the Saints use Michael Thomas when he's healthy. Let him just beat up on people inside the slot. The challenge for me, if I'm San Francisco in that scenario, though, Colin, is it's a lot easier to trade the Tyreek Hills and the Devontae Adams of the world when you've got Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, established quarterbacks. Usually with young quarterbacks, especially who are getting ready to make their first starts in this league, I want to surround them with veteran help. I wouldn't want to put him out there with a bunch of other young football players.
Well, maybe that's why they're keeping Garoppolo, by the way. They'd feel better with Garoppolo, Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, George Kittle. I still like their roster a lot. The Cowboys are reportedly one of the teams looking to move up. So we kind of know what they want. They'd love another receiver, but they really need an offensive tackle. So let's say they said yesterday they want to move up top 14. That means they have 14 players they see as a first-round grade. That's probably what that means. If the Cowboys got a Charles Cross, or like the second or third best tackle, would you feel good about that? Is that worth moving up? You got Dak now. Dak needs protect. He's always been better when Tyron Smith, and Tyron now is old. You lost Lyle Collins, Daniel. You're not getting 17 games from Tyron. Are these tackles, these first 3 tackles, which I think Dallas would go after, are they good enough to come, play, and be reliable year one protecting Dak?
Well, I think the first 2 for sure, and they're not going to be able to get in range to get Ekwonu or Neal, whatever order you want to put those guys in. Cross is a solid player. To me, he's kind of in that range. If you want to move up a little bit for him, I think he can get out there and play. He's going to be better in pass pro than he is in the run game initially. But he's a true left tackle. My concern with him is he going to be able to hold up on the right side, and be ready to play right away. So the first 2 would be slam dunks, Colin. You can be really aggressive and go up and get them. And Cross would start for him. He'd start at right tackle. I just think long-term wise, he's going to be more comfortable, more natural on the other side.
Listen, we're going to have a bust in the top 10. We're probably going to have 4, 5, 6, or 7 in the first rounds, the way it works. Derek Stingley, unbelievable as a freshman, never been the same player, would scare me to death. What do I make of him? What do you make of him? Because, boy, he is long. And as a freshman, I can remember saying this on the air as a freshman. I'm like, I think he'd be a top 10 corner in the NFL as a sophomore at LSU. Like, I thought he was like, it was like Jalen Ramsey, or it was like, it's like Jamar Chase. You were watching an NFL player in college. What do you make of him?
Yeah, to me, there's no middle ground. I don't envision a world in which Stingley is an average starter. He's going to be a home run pick. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, or it's just not going to work out. That 2019 tape that you reference is unbelievable. I mean, it's top 5 pick in any draft type stuff.
Yes.
And then this year, even if I throw out this year, though, Colin, and we say, okay, the foot, that was an issue starting in August. So even that UCLA game where he did not play well at all, if I forgive that because of the injury and just kind of throw away this year, I still got to go back to 2020 and Devontae Smith, putting almost 200 yards or over 200 yards on him. Like, he gave up a ton of plays in 2020 to all those talented wideouts in the conference. So he is a true enigma. But of course, as everything starts to go south, all of a sudden he shows up at a pro day, which nobody expected he would run, Colin. It was like, okay, he's coming off of a Liz Frank. He hasn't had much time to train. He's going to height, weight, maybe do some drills and just show that he can move around. And the guy goes out there and rolls a low 4.4 without hardly any training. I mean, it's all in there. It's just a matter of knowing which guy you're going to get.
I don't know if I've had finally Kayvon Thibaut out of Oregon, who the GMs I talk to all like him. If they don't love him, they like him. He'll play. Yeah. What's your take on him?
Yeah, I would say I'm probably in that same boat. He's my 10th overall player. I think he's a really good player. I think the off the field interest stuff that people have kind of obsessed over, that doesn't really bother me. I mean, I have him where I have him based off of the player. He's really good. I just don't see like an elite, bend. He's a little bit tight in the ankles once he gets to the top of his rush. Some of the inconsistencies with effort on the field, I think, is legit. In that game that you're seeing right there against Utah, he made some plays, but there were 6 or 7 loaf plays in that game as well. So, again, really good player. I just didn't view him as a number 1, 2, or 3 overall pick.
All right. Tonight, NFL Network from Vegas, 8 Eastern, first round. I'll be totally locked in. This is one of my favorite nights of the year. Daniel Jeremiah, a 3-time scout in the NFL. Good seeing you, bud.
Good to see you, man. Take care.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.